Being in a relationship with someone who struggles with insecurity can bring a lot of challenges, from being falsely accused of cheating to having social media stalked and everything in between. Over time, it can feel quite wearing, and it can take a lot of time and effort to try to build that trust up. And it can be a real struggle to try to help your partner overcome their fears and to know exactly how to support them in their healing process. So in this video, we're going to break down the mistakes you can make with an insecure partner, as well as the 5 steps to rebuild trust with your insecure partner. So we can really try to be supportive, but it can have its challenges, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to talk and listen to a partner whilst maybe getting accused of cheating or having those insecurities be directed at us. In short, it can be very easy to make mistakes and actually make an insecure partner feel even more insecure. And more problems come if these mistakes aren't addressed. The relationship can start to deteriorate, and it can lead to further emotional damage and push the relationship further and further apart. So first, we'll break down the mistakes that we make with insecure partners, and then we'll talk about the steps to rebuild trust in the relationship. So the first mistake that can be made is rushing the relationship. This is what my members and I call the paradox of control. This is where we try to control the relationship by rushing through and trying to get to a resolution very quickly. Oftentimes, this means trying to resolve your partner's insecurities by telling them with logic that you're to be trusted, that everything's going to be okay, that you're not going to cheat on them. In trying to rush through to a resolution, this can actually create unrealistic expectations within yourself, and it can also cause a lot of frustration and create more insecurity within your partner. It's really important to understand that you can't build trust with logic. Trust is built through emotion, and trust is built gradually through consistent actions and understanding. And trying to rush through to force your partner logically to become more secure actually prevents progress on them healing themselves naturally. Trying to accelerate through this process might put more pressure on not only yourself, but your partner as well, potentially causing a lot more stress and a lot more damage to the relationship. The next mistake is being defensive. So this is all about invalidating your partner's feelings. So let's say, for example, your partner is accusing you of cheating, or they're looking through your phone and trying to figure out whether you can be trusted or not. By responding defensively, by trying to justify yourself and say, hey, no, I can be trusted, you're actually making your partner's concerns feel invalidated. By trying to use logic to overcome the emotional challenge, you're actually increasing the level of insecurity and mistrust in the relationship because you're not validating their feelings. So these defensive responses actually escalate conflicts, making it harder to address the underlying issues, and it hinders the progress in healing. What happens is, by being defensive, this shuts down the open communication. And open communication is the foundation of your partner being able to go through this healing process to heal the insecurities that they may be feeling right now. The more that you get defensive and prevent a dialogue from happening, the more your partner is going to feel less trust for you. The third mistake is ignoring your partner's needs. So this is disregarding the things that they're saying. When they say space, or they need boundaries, or a little bit of extra care or validation in the moment, by completely ignoring this, a lot of times what partners can do is completely disregard it. So for example, if your partner feels a little bit more needy or needs a little bit more validation, and we think that this is going to enable insecure behavior, then we can sometimes just completely ignore what they're asking for. And this again can lead to a feeling of invalidation. Simply ignoring requests and not talking about it can actually make it harder for your partner to process their feels, and it actually creates a lot more emotional distance between you. This kind of action can actually contribute to a feeling of being undervalued and simply reinforce these ideas of insecurity. The next mistake is a lack of consistency. So inconsistent actions can lead to a lot of confusion and doubt about your reliability and your commitment to the relationship. And this can reinforce their fears about being betrayed again. So trust in a relationship is strengthened by consistent effort. So inconsistency can erode the progress made in building trust and creating further and further insecurity. And this is especially crucial if you are an ADHDer. Oftentimes we can be consistently inconsistent. So being able to put in a consistent effort and being able to show up and act in a consistent way and following through on promises and commitments is doubly important. Because not following through on these can result in a lot of disappointment and a lack of faith in the stability of the relationship. So it's important to be able to show that you are capable of being a stable, safe base for your partner. And one of the biggest mistakes is neglecting your own self-care. So focusing solely on your partner's needs without actually attending to your own self-care can lead to a lot of emotional exhaustion and burnout. So if your partner is feeling insecure in the relationship, it can be really tempting to make all of those challenges the centerpiece of the relationship and put your own needs aside. But often what happens is when you start to ignore your own needs while prioritizing your partner's healing, this can create feelings of resentment and burnout within yourself. And this causes more of an imbalance in the relationship, because if you're feeling resentment, then over time, you're going to start to treat them differently. And as well as that, if you neglect your own well-being, it's going to become a lot more difficult to provide the right support and empathy for your partner's healing process. If you've ever heard the phrase, put on your own oxygen mask first before you put on others, this applies here. Making sure that you're looking after yourself and that you're prioritizing your own needs in order for you to be able to show up and be supportive towards your partner is really, really crucial in this. Making these mistakes over and over again can actually breed more and more insecurity within your partner and pushes the relationship further and further away. So what can we do? What can we do to build trust with a partner who's feeling insecure? And just before I jump into these 5 steps, if you do want more videos like this on relationships, communication, and even ADHD, then feel free to subscribe to my channel for new videos every single week. Well, there are 5 steps to build trust with an insecure partner. The first step is earning trust gradually. So earning trust gradually is with consistent efforts. So trust is built through many, many small interactions. This isn't about making big promises or making big strides in one go. Having regular conversations about your feelings, your partner's feelings, your needs, your partner's needs, your partner's expectations, your expectations. This is done through many, many small interactions over time. Trust has to be built slowly and steadily over time. And again, this involves being consistent and following through with promises and commitments. So this means not overly promising things and aligning your actions with your words, and recognizing and respecting their triggers. The next step is to learn about the person that you're in a relationship with. So this may sound very obvious, but every person is unique. So this isn't about painting your partner with these insecure attachment styles or anxious attachment styles. Putting on these labels like attachment styles can actually cause a lot more toxicity and actually reduces the idea of getting to know your partner as an individual person. I actually have a deeper dive into attachment styles and how toxic they are, which I'll link to above and in the description down below. But it's important to be curious about your partner's life and your partner's experiences, not simply painting them with this label. Understand what important events shaped them and their feelings, their views, their personality, and avoid making assumptions about their behavior or their reactions. Getting away from simply sticking a insecure label on them is really, really crucially important. Actually start to have conversations with them about their experiences, get to know them. The more that you take an interest and are curious about your partner's life and experiences, the more that you'll create the space to be able to talk about your experience. And the more that they'll get to know you and feel more and more secure with who you are. And as part of this means that you can't learn about them without being able to know yourself. So knowing where you come from, how you develop your point of view, your needs, your experiences. The more that you understand yourself and your own triggers, the more you'll be able to take the time to understand them and their triggers. Your honesty reveals your willingness to be vulnerable with your partner and encourages vulnerability from them. And as you learn about them, learn how to externally validate their feelings. So this isn't simply saying, I understand. This is about being able to validate their feelings, reflect them back, and confirm your understanding of them without minimizing them or judging them. You know, validation is a skill. Being able to deeply validate, being able to understand, learn more about your partner's experience, and being able to show a non-judgmental understanding as to why they may be feeling that way. This shows your partner that you're willing to take the time and effort to understand them, but it also gives them the catharsis of being able to express themselves and being able to show why they are the way they're feeling right now. And this helps to pave the road ahead of them towards their healing. This is using positive reinforcement to help them feel secure and valued without just simply telling them. So if your partner has some insecurities, it can be really tempting to say, hey, you know that I do love you, just simply saying it by using logic. But logic doesn't work. Being able to deeply show emotionally that you understand what they're going through and what they're feeling helps show that you understand rather than simply saying that you understand. It helps them to feel valued rather than simply being told that they're valued. So this kind of positive reinforcement helps someone who's been betrayed in the past feel a lot more secure and valued. It shows that they have value rather than simply telling them. And deep validation is a skill that can be built, it can be grown, and it's a crucial relationship skill. And this is what I work on with all of my Ultra Normal members. And if you do want to join us, then join me on my free relationship bootcamp, where you'll learn the same tools and skills that all of my members use to turn their relationships around. Just click on the link in the description to grab your spot. So validation is crucial, but ultimately, we still want to be able to help guide them through. It's not simply just a matter of validating their feelings. We want to also offer alternate perspectives, right? Being able to maybe guide them through to see their value. And this is where it's important to influence them, not control them. So this sounds a little bit scary because of these two words, but ultimately we want to still be able to give our point of view, to be able to show them the value in them, to make them feel and to make them see their own value, right? So they don't feel as insecure, to make them see that we are to be trusted, right? And like we mentioned earlier, trying to use logic is trying to control what they feel in that moment. So if they're feeling insecure, we try to tell them, hey, I'm not going to cheat on you. Hey, you are valued. You are a good human being. This is using logic to try to control what they're feeling. This is why, rather than try to control what they're saying, simply make suggestions as to maybe what helped you deal with your insecurities, or to suggest maybe a alternate perspective on what they're thinking right now. So it needs to be offered as a suggestion. So make it as a question. So being able to say something along the lines of, hey, I actually had a few years where I felt really insecure about myself. Do you mind if I tell you a little bit more about what helped me? This helps to keep this a dialogue and doesn't invalidate your partner's feelings in that moment. This is why it's important to offer this as a suggestion rather than as a statement, or rather than in a controlling way. And in order for your partner to be receptive to what you're saying, you need to create emotional safety. So I've actually made a deeper dive video, which I'll put up on the screen here. But emotional safety is essentially creating a safe environment for both yourself and your partner to feel safe, sharing your feelings, feeling unjudged, and being able to express yourself no matter what you're feeling. So this is all about fostering a safe space to feel understood, encouraging open conversations about feelings, being able to listen to understand them, not just to respond. Oftentimes, people make the mistake of thinking that they have emotional safety, only to be blindsided by a big action like maybe a divorce or a separation. And this is why it's crucial to be able to fully understand emotional safety, to be able to build it in a masterful way. So I'll leave you with that deep dive video, and I'll see you over there.